When people talk to me about my books, the one question I get asked most is, where do I get my ideas? I never know how to answer. There's no formula I can point to, no idea book that I use. Instead, each of my stories is an assortment of experiences. It's kind of like the way I cook when I don't have a recipe. A pinch of this, a smidgen of that, all the time hoping that it will taste good when I'm finished. At the moment, I'm writing a series called Love's Journey on Manitoulin Island. Because of this, how I get my ideas for these books is still very fresh in my mind. Manitoulin Island is a special place. It is where my husband and I took our sons for vacations when they were small. We always stayed at the same primitive fishing resort that was on Ice Lake. We often visited an old man there by the name of Robertson. We found out that the only year-round access to the island was one long, narrow bridge that connected it to the mainland. Then one day I was hanging out in a bookstore looking for inspiration, and when I noticed a psychology book that had been left out, I opened it. The first word that my eyes fell upon was the word Japharophobia. It means a fear of crossing bridges. The book said that for some people, the fear is so great, it forces them to live within a very small geographical location. I immediately thought of the bridge on Manitoulin Island and what it would be like to never have the courage to cross it. To be so paralyzed by fear that the island became a sort of prison. While digging through some old videos of our vacations on the island, I remembered how while we were fishing on Ice Lake one day, we saw the ruins of a huge old stone house. We got out of the boat and investigated. Although there wasn't much of it left, I was struck by the beauty of the stonework that remained. A couple of years later, while on the island again, we heard that someone had purchased the old house and had hired master stonemasons to rebuild it. Yet again, we went to investigate, and the stonework was stunning. Something else I enjoyed visiting on the island were the lighthouses. And then while reading a book about lighthouse history, I was surprised to discover that many lightkeepers in the 1800s were women. So this is how I'm bringing all these different elements together to create this series. Moriah Robertson is the caretaker for a primitive fishing resort on Manitoulin Island. She is a strong, capable woman, except for the sad fact that for some mysterious reason, she cannot cross the bridge to the mainland without going into a full-blown panic attack. Unable to leave the island, she focuses on her hope of repairing the ruined lighthouse, the one where her great-great-grandmother Robertson was the lightkeeper. And that's where Ben comes in, a master stonemason. I don't want to give too much away, but that's a glimpse into how I get my ideas for my books. A pinch of this, a smidgen of that, and always a touch of romance.